Classical Indian Philosophy Nyaya, Inference as a Pramana. Anumana or Inference. Anumana or inference is the second means of knowledge or pramana accepted by the school. It is also called inferential or relational knowledge. It is called so because the word Anumana etymologically means anu, that stands for after, and mana, which stands for knowledge. As a result, it is defined as the knowledge where the cognition presupposes some other cognition. It is mediate and indirect in nature. Anumana arises through a mark, the middle term, or the hetu, or the linga, is invariably connected with the major term or the sadhya. Vyapti or invariable relation is the nerve of the inference. For example, all cases of smoke are cases of fire. Here, Vyapti exists between the middle and the major term, that is, between smoke and fire, or smoke is invariably related with fire. In other words, it is universal, invariable relationship between the middle and the major term. Vyapti is also called Avina Bhava Niyama. The knowledge of Pakshadharmata as qualified by Vyapti is called Paramarsha. In other words, it is the knowledge of the presence of major term in the minor through the middle, which arises in the minor or the Pakshadharmata and is invariably associated with the major term. Like the Aristotelian logic, in the Indian logic, inference has three parts: major term, middle term, and minor term. They are also known as sadhya, hetu, or linga, and paksha. Indian logic does not differentiate between deduction and induction. In other words, it does not separate the two like the Western logic does. According to them, inference is a complex process which involves both deduction and induction. It also rejects the verbalistic view of logic. It studies thought and not the forms of thought alone. So, the formal and the material logic are both blended in Indian logic. According to Nyaya, inference is both for the self and others, meaning it is both Swata Anumana and Parata Anumana. The former is psychological in nature and needs no logic. The latter is formal in nature and, in order to tell to the other people or the others to know, logic and language is needed. The concept of Panca-Avayava or the five members of Indian logic. According to Nyaya, there are five members of Panca-Avayava of Indian logic. They are: number 1, the hill has fire. This proposition needs to be proved. It is also called pratijna or proposition. Number 2, because it has smoke. The reason for the establishment of the proposition. It is also called hetu. Number 3, what has smoke has fire. The example of the relation of universal concomitants. For example, oven, etc. It is called udharana. Number 4, the hill has smoke which is invariably associated with fire. This is also known as application or upanaya. Number 5, therefore the hill has fire. This is the conclusion which is also called negamana. Unlike the Aristotelian logic, Indian logic accepts 5 premises and not 3. The 3 premises of the former are major premise, middle premise, and minor premise. These 3 are associated with Aristotelian logic. On the other hand, Indian logic deals with 5 premises. They are pratijna, hetu, udharana, upanaya, and nigamana. Classification of Anumana. According to Nyaya, inference is of 3 kinds. Number 1, Purvavat Anumana. This inference is based on causation. It occurs when we infer unperceived effect from the perceived cause. For example, we infer rain from dark clouds. It is based on previous knowledge of Vyapti or universal relation between two things. Number 2, Sheshvat Anumana. This inference is based on causation. It occurs when we infer unperceived cause from perceived effects. For example, We infer rain from seeing flooded roads, rivers, etc. This is based on inference by elimination or parishesha. Number 3. Samanyatodrshta Anumana. It is based on coexistence and not causation. It occurs for it is based on the premise of mere coexistence. For example, when we infer cloven hoofs of an animal by its horns. In other words, it is based on analogy. Questions. Number 1. Anumana is dash means of pramana. The correct answer is B. Anumana or inference is the second means of knowledge or pramana accepted by the school Nyaya. It is also called inferential or relational knowledge. It is mediate and indirect in nature. Question 2. The knowledge of pakshadharmata jnana as qualified by vyapti is called. The correct answer is B. That is paramarsha. The knowledge of pakshadharmata jnana as qualified by vyapti is called paramarsha. Question 3. Dash inference is based on causation. The correct answer is C. That is, both Purvavat and Sheshvat are inferences which are based on causation. On the other hand, option D, that is, Samanyatodrshta, is based on coexistence and not causation. Question 4. Dash Anumana is based on inference by elimination or parishesha. The correct answer is B. That is, Sheshvat Anumana is based on inference by elimination or parishesha.